Hello, Compass families. We are so happy that you have chosen to have your scholars enrolled at Compass this year, and we are really looking forward to an exciting school year. As we get started, there is one goal that we have set that we really need your help with. At the end of the last school year, the legislature passed a law to extend renewal dates for all charter schools. California charter schools are public schools, and we can only operate when our authorizer approves our charter. At Compass, we have 3 different charters, and so depending on where you live, you may be served by the San Diego, YOLO, or Los Angeles charter. Our San Diego charter was originally scheduled to renew this year and has been extended until 2025. Our YOLO County and Los Angeles County charters have been extended until 2027. There is a new law that was passed in 2020 that says for the 2024-25 school year, new regulations will be in effect for charter renewals. Just as a reminder, these are the counties that we serve. Our San Diego charter serves San Diego, Imperial, Riverside, and Orange counties. Our Los Angeles charter serves Los Angeles, Ventura, Kern, and San Bernardino. And our YOLO charter serves YOLO and its surrounding counties. So depending on your primary address, you would be served by one of these charters. The new regulations that were set have put into effect a tiered system for charter renewal. Charters will now be grouped into a bottom, middle, and top tier. Top tier schools will be guaranteed a 5 to 7 year renewal. That is the default. These are schools who are showing blue or green across every measure on the California dashboard, or who are exceeding the state average in testing in overall and in a majority of the subgroups. Bottom tier schools are not meeting all of the dashboard measures and have either a red or orange indicator, or their scores are the same or below the state average overall and in a majority of subgroups. Bottom tier schools have a default non-renewal, which means that authorizers can simply decide not to renew the charter, and then they would have to appeal. Authorizers may consider a low-tier school for a 2-year term if they believe that the school can show evidence that they are providing adequate services to scholars and addressing the needs that have been identified by the low test scores. For middle tier schools, a 5-year renewal is possible, but they will have to show their authorizers why they feel that they should be able to continue as a charter school. So what this means for Compass is based on the 2021-2022 data, both the Los Angeles and San Diego charters are in the low tier. This means the default is non-renewal, and that we may be granted a 2-year renewal, but only if we can show compelling evidence that we are doing everything we can to increase our achievement. Our YOLO school only has 1 year of data, but as you can see from their scores, they are below in all areas, and so they would also be a low tier score depending on their results from this year. The scores on this chart all show the distance from standard in each of the areas overall, and then broken down by subgroup. The state requires a participation rate in state testing at 95%. All scholars who do not participate over that 95% are assigned a loss score. So when a scholar does not participate in the state testing in the spring, they actually are assigned a negative 277 from standard in English and a negative 246 from standard in math. So even though they did not take the assessment, these scores are assigned to them and impact the school's overall score. For the 21-22 data, our staff did an amazing analysis of what our scores look like with and without the loss penalty and how that compares to how well our scholars achieve on our internal STAR Renaissance assessment. As you can see from this graph, the darker bars are the scores that we were assigned. Those are the scores that are on the California dashboard, and they are the ones that contribute to us being in the low category. The lighter colored bars are the scores that we calculated when we removed the scholars who received the loss penalty. So that is our actual achievement level of the scholars who took the test. On the end, you have the California overall rates. And so remember from those tiers, in order to be in the higher tier, schools have to exceed the California overall rates and in the subgroups. To me, the most shocking of our schools is our YOLO charter. As you can see, because we have a low participation rate in our state testing there, our scores are very low, and that school will actually be in the low tier. However, when we remove the scores of those scholars that did not take the assessment, we see that they exceed the state overall in both areas. So it's quite possible that if we can get our participation rate up to 95% in our YOLO charter, we will go from low to high tier and actually be considered for a 5 to 7 year renewal. That is very, very important to us as a school. Now, of course, our San Diego charter is the one that we are most concerned about because, as you can see here, we do have significant penalty for the loss score. And then our scores are much better with the lighter color when we take away that loss penalty. However, we still have some work to do there to make sure that we are beating the state average. One thing that you cannot really tell from this data, though, is for those scholars that did not take the assessment, how well will they do on the state test? And so when you look at how well our scholars actually do on our Renaissance star, it's not just removing the negative scores, it's replacing those negative scores with positive scores, which is what the data shows will happen if we can achieve that 95% participation rate with all of our scholars. Many of the scholars who are not participating are actually very high achieving. So not only are we receiving that loss penalty for them, but we are also missing out on being able to have them show what they can really do and have that contribute to our school's achievement levels. Now, you may be thinking, well, my scholar's not in the San Diego charter, and so I don't have anything to worry about. Our San Diego charter has a significant portion of our enrollment. And the way public schools are funded is around enrollment and attendance. If we lose that charter, it will impact much more than just our scholars in San Diego. Our families and scholars in San Diego will have to go to another school. Our staff there will lose their jobs. And the support services that are provided by many staff will be reduced for our Los Angeles and YOLO charters. So this is something that it impacts all of us. And again, if we can just increase our participation rate to 95%, I truly believe that we will be able to be in the middle or even top tier for all of our charter renewals. So again, our San Diego charter is actually based on, since they moved it out a year, the 22-23 data, which we're still working on compiling, and the data from this school year. So it's not over yet. We do have this school year to show that we are not a low tier school for renewal. And if our parents can ensure that their scholars participate in this assessment and do their best, I am confident that we will be in the middle or even high tier for renewal. Our goal is to reach that 95% participation rate on our state assessments. And we need to hear from you on how we can support you and your scholar in being successful in completing these assessments. Please work with your supervising teacher to talk about what we can do to make you feel comfortable and make you feel that your scholar will be successful on these assessments. We have heard from some of our families different concerns, and we want to work with you on your concerns and help you to be successful in helping us reach this goal. I look forward to working with you this year in achieving our goal of a 95% participation rate so that our outcomes will show that Compass really is the gold standard in virtual education, and that we will be able to provide these services to your families and scholars for many years to come. Thank you.